Hi, I'm your host Vasco Duarte. Welcome to the Scrum Master Toolbox podcast, where we share tips and tricks from Scrum Masters around the world. Every day, we bring you inspiring answers to important questions that all Scrum Masters face day after day. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's Scrum Master Toolbox podcast. And this week, joining us from Belgium is Bram de Blok. Hey, Bram, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So did I pronounce your name correctly? How does it go?
Very, very well. It's like a bit like Bram Stoker, the writer of Dracula. That's Bram.
Bram. Yeah. All right. So Bram is not an official trainer, consultant, nor freelancer. He is just himself supporting colleagues in applying and growing their own potential and getting stuff done. Bram started as a software developer during 10 years, and then he grew into what he calls a half-time agile coach, and finally a full-time global agile lead at Skyline Communications. And something special he learned during that journey, even if he wishes it wasn't that special, was the meaning and impact of respect. And I'm pretty sure we're going to explore that insight during this week. So, Bram, that was a quick intro. Tell us a bit more about yourself and how did you end up becoming a Scrum Master?
Absolutely. So I've been with this company, Skyline Communications, for almost 12 years now. Always as a software developer, like you mentioned, but at a certain point, I felt like I reached my goal as a software developer. I didn't feel myself grow anymore, and I still wanted to grow. And I noticed I actually enjoy working with people a lot more than with computers, with software. I loved what I did, but people change, and I changed definitely. And I was actually looking into, okay, maybe I can join my colleagues in HR, work with people. And it was actually our CTO, I believe, Bert van den Bergen, that said, can you hold on for just one more year? We're doing this thing called agile soon. I think there might be something in there for you.
Oh my God, then they got you. They definitely got you.
It's been a passion ever since for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, as it often happens with passions, we go in and dive head first because we love it so much. Although sometimes the swimming pool is a bit shallow and we bump our head to the bottom of the pool. That is, we fail. And of course, all of us do that. Failure is part of the journey and we need to accept that. And we want to hear a story like that, Bram, a story of a moment of failure, something you did as a Scrum Master that at that time was your best, but of course, also at that time, you still had a lot to learn. So share that story with us. We'll dive into the details and the takeaways later, but tell us the story first.
Yeah, well, I definitely did that, jumping into that shallow pool, storming in, thinking I know it all, and I'm going to bring all this agile goodness to this team, not really knowing their context, not really showing that respect and listening to them. And what I tried to do, what I did is let's follow the Scrum guide. Let's push a sprint goal. Let's collaborate. Let's push all these things prescripted, and that simply didn't work.
Can you give an example of what was one of those things that now you call pushing?
For example, pushing that sprint goal. The team was not ready there with just knowing each other, how to work with each other, where they can extend each other's expertise, allowing others to look at their code, their component, their baby maybe to work together. And I pushed, okay, now we're not going to leave this planning meeting, for example, until we have a sprint goal. And it took a lot of frustration and a lot of time just figuring out a sprint goal. A lot of time was spent formulating a sentence that everybody or as many people as possible could help on, while it wasn't necessarily a good sprint goal. It wasn't necessarily going to deliver us value. We've, instead of focusing on, okay, how can we deliver value in this sprint, we were focusing on, okay, how can we make a nice sprint goal? And that was definitely, I learned from that. It was not a good experience.
So if you now with the benefit of hindsight and experience, obviously, I'm guessing you haven't stopped thinking that sprint goals are a good thing. But how would you go about it then? Like you know that the team would benefit from the sprint goal, and you know that the process of defining a sprint goal is actually something that helps both the PO and the team, but maybe they're not ready. Like, how would you go about it today if you went into a team and you wanted to introduce sprint goal, but of course now you do it differently? So how do you do that?
Well, first, I don't really mention the sprint goal at the start, but I let them work together without them knowing that they're actually working towards the same goal. So just by leaving out this terminology, not coming over as, okay, I'm here the teacher, I'm going to tell you how it should be done, and it's called a sprint goal, and you have to do it like this now. Just have them identify, okay, here we can really work together. I'm good at doing this QA for this component, this part. I'm good at doing the back end. You're good at the front end. Maybe we should sit together more closely and work that way. And then after a few times, a few iterations, then introduce the concept of sprint goal. Hey, these things that you did, you guys worked together to create a first version of whatever, for example, having this blank website online. You guys did this. We didn't set a goal, but you guys did this. How about now we set a goal to say, okay, now we want people to be able to log in. And then how can everybody contribute? Yeah, okay, I'll do the security, you'll do the front end. We can work together on this or that design, whatever came out of that. So
you kind of take the focus away from the sprint goal and start focusing more on enabling their working together, right? Like
yes.
Asking questions about, okay, so where are the things we know best? Where can we focus, given that these are the things we need to deliver? Where can we focus and work maybe in pairs, or how can we help each other? Is that what you have in mind?
Yes, absolutely. It depends on the team, but a lot of teams aren't used to working together. They are used to working on their task. They did their stuff and throw it over to the next person. That's what they are used to. And without setting the sprint goal, instead of throwing that task to the colleague next to you, you say, okay, let's just work together and get this completely done.
And because one of the things that I'm quite interested is that even that sometimes can be quite contentious, right? Because we also have a lot of this is not my job. Why should I help you with that user story? Because it's not my user story. So one of the things that I'm curious about is how do you help the team understand that they're working together for something that matters, rather than by working together, they stop being able to work on their own things?
By making them curious. By, for example, doing this novel thing with review meetings where the end user actually joins the team for a few hours. For a lot of team members, that was very new and somewhat frightening. To really show, okay, look, this team, these members created this for the user, and seeing that reaction from the user saying, oh yeah, great, this is what we wanted. Can we now have this or that or go that direction? More and more colleagues said, oh yeah, we also want to get that kind of feeling back. We want to feel appreciated. We want to see that, okay, it's not just my performance is not just like, okay, I did 8 tasks this week, but I heard from the person that's going to use it how it makes his or her day in the life much easier, thanks to whatever value you created.
And this curiosity, I like how you used. I used their curiosity, and this is actually a very powerful way to get people to find new ways of working as well, right? And one of the things that I'm curious about is, how did you find that out? Like, how did you realize that actually by using curiosity, we can help teams and team members find different ways to interact and collaborate?
From experience then. So if you have a couple of people in the team that work together and they saw or they got that feedback from the users on how happy they are, there's others in the team, they said, I wish I worked on that as well. I also wanted to feel that appreciation and get there. And noticing that, again, another failure, that pushing from my end didn't get the desired outcome. But when you notice that, okay, people got curious and they started pulling from me, say, hey, Bram, I also want to work together on the next item we show to the user. Yeah, that's a bit how I discovered that curiosity is much more powerful, much more enabling, that they come to you as the agile coach to say, hey, let me join on this goal without really realizing.
Absolutely. A great story and an inspiring story. Thank you for sharing that with us, Bram.
Yeah, you're welcome. I have plenty more failures, but yeah.
That's one. We'll explore others later.
All right.
Monday is about what we learn from our obstacles and our failures. But tomorrow is Team Tuesday here on the Scrum Master Toolbox podcast. We explore teams and their journeys, the habits they develop that threaten their performance, how each of our guests help their teams evolve, and the one key lesson they learned from that experience. We really hope you liked our show. And if you did, why not rate this podcast on Stitcher or iTunes? Share this podcast and let other Scrum Masters know about this valuable resource for their work. Remember that sharing is caring.